In this video, we're going to learn what memory leaks are in C and how to avoid them. So memory leaks occur when we fail to free memory that's been dynamically allocated by our program. Memory leaks can also occur when a program loses the ability to access memory that's been dynamically allocated. So the values for the regular variables in our C program are stored in a place in memory called the stack. And the stack is basically managed automatically for us. We don't really have to do too much as programmers to set aside space for our variables or release that space when it's no longer needed. So for example, if our main function has a variable int x that we set to the value 5, that's going to be stored on the stack. Let's also create some functions. We'll say here void func1, it's going to have a variable y that's set to 10, and we'll have void func2 with a variable z that we set to 15. Now we'll call func1 and we'll call func2. So when our program runs, first space is going to be set aside for this variable x. It's going to store 5. Then when func1 is called, space is going to be set aside on the stack for the variable y. It's going to be set to 10. Then when func1 returns, that space is going to be released again. Then func2 will be called. Then on the stack, we will have z set to 15. Then func2 will return, and that space will be released. So that's how the stack works. That's a very simple explanation, but that's basically how it works. We as the programmers don't really do too much other than declare variables, and that's about it. The heap is an area of memory that we have to manage ourselves. On the heap, we have what's called dynamically allocated memory, where we as the programmer more explicitly allocate a block of memory and release it when we're done with it. So we typically use the functions malloc and calloc to allocate space for these blocks of memory on the heap. To use malloc, we'll have to include the stdlib.h library where it's defined. And using malloc looks like this. We'll say int star pointer is equal to malloc size of int. So malloc is going to allocate space on the heap for a single integer. It's going to return a memory address. That memory address is going to be stored into pointer. And that memory address is where that integer can be stored on the heap. So in memory, we'll still have pointer on the stack, but pointer will be set to some memory address that malloc returns. We could say 102. Then at that memory address 102, somewhere else in memory, that's where we could store an integer. So here if we said star pointer is equal to 5, what we're doing is dereferencing the pointer. We're going and getting this space at the memory address stored in the pointer, and we're storing at that memory address the value 5. Now this is on the heap. It's in a different area of memory than the stack. And the heap is something we have to manage. So with the stack, as our functions were returning, those local variables were automatically being released from memory. And that position in memory could be used again, say when another function is called. In the case of the heap, we have to explicitly free the memory. We do that using the free function. So what we say here is free pointer. And when I say free pointer, what's going on is that this space that was dynamically allocated during our program's execution is being given back. It's being released so that it could be used again. So in this program here, it's not like our program is going to crash because we forget to free this single int's worth of space on the heap. But malloc can be called many times throughout a program's execution. And malloc can also allocate space for larger blocks of memory. So for example, here we could say times 10,000. And now malloc would allocate space for 10,000 integers. If we start forgetting to free blocks of memory this big, we're going to have more and more of an issue. Our program will have space set aside that it's not even using. And eventually, if our program keeps doing this, we could actually run out of space that's even available. Malloc will actually return null when there's no longer space available on the heap. Let's go over an example of that. We'll make a pointer here called data, and we'll make a loop that's going to use data to continually allocate more space. And we're going to allocate a lot of space. We'll say here size underscore t data underscore size is equal to size of int times 1, and we'll put 12 zeros after it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. This size underscore t is a type we get with stdlib.h. That's technically what malloc accepts as an argument, is something with this type. We'll actually keep track of the number of iterations of the loop. We'll say int iterations is equal to 0. We're going to run the loop until malloc returns null, when the heap is full. Because we're using true here with our loop, we'll include stdbool.h. And we'll say here data is equal to malloc data underscore size. So continuously try to allocate space for something with this very, very large size here with each iteration of the loop. Eventually, the heap is going to be full. Eventually, there's going to be no more space to allocate. Because what we're not going to do is free data. Because we don't free data, this space is never released. And if we just keep allocating more and more space, eventually the heap is going to fill up. So we'll check for that. If malloc returns null, then data is going to be set to null. And if it is, we'll break to terminate the loop. So we'll say break here. And then finally, we'll increment the iterations variable to keep track of the amount of iterations. We'll do a printf as well to output the iterations. So we'll say printf iterations, %d, \n, and then iterations. Then when we're done, we'll print out that malloc failed. So we'll say malloc failed, \n. So we'll save this and we'll compile it. And then we'll run it. And after 34 iterations, we get that malloc failed. And what's gone on is that the heap is actually out of memory because malloc just keeps allocating more and more space, but we never free the space. So we actually just run out of memory on the heap. This is the big risk with a memory leak. Let's actually slow down the program so we can see what's going on in more detail. To slow things down, we'll use the sleep function. What I'll do is include uni std.h where the sleep function is defined. Then down here in our loop, after each iteration is complete, we'll say sleep 1 to sleep our program for 1 second. Let's recompile our program and try running it again. This time when I run it, I'm going to use the activity monitor to actually monitor what's going on with our memory. So up here, I'll go to the activity monitor and we'll get that running. I've called my program AAA, so I should be able to see it at the top here. So we'll run our program now. And we have that AAA program running. Let's check it out. And let's zoom in on this virtual memory size here so that we can watch the memory that our program takes up expanding. So notice how it's going from 36, 54, 72. So it's going higher and higher here. Eventually, we're just going to run out of available space. And our program will actually crash. So 112. Now it says terminated up here. And if we check our program, we're going to see that we're at the malloc failed stage now. So it took a longer time, but our program failed in the same way as before. And this time we could actually watch the memory that our program is using increase over time until eventually it crashed. Modern computers and operating systems use something called virtual memory that allows our programs to take up more space than is available in RAM alone. Virtual memory is also slow. So if our program has a memory leak, and as a result, it's using more and more virtual memory, it's also going to impact the performance of our program. So even if our program doesn't crash due to a memory leak, the program's performance can also be impaired as well. What if we use free though? If we use free here, and we just say free data, what's going to happen is that in each iteration of the loop, we're going to free the dynamically allocated memory. We're never going to run out of space this way. We'll actually take out this call to sleep here. We'll save this. We'll do a clear, recompile our program, and run it. And now it's going to work indefinitely. Because in each iteration of the loop, yes, we're allocating a big block of memory, but we're also freeing it. So on the next iteration of the loop, when we use malloc to allocate memory again, there will be space available. So the program can actually go on indefinitely now. We'll actually have to kill it here to stop it. So whenever we use malloc or calloc to allocate space for data on the heap, we're going to have to use free to free that space once we're done working with that data. Otherwise, we'll have a memory leak. Now, typically speaking, memory leaks aren't really a problem in small programs like this, where we can see where we allocate the space and we can see where we free it. It's typically more of a problem in larger programs, where we have functions that allocate space and maybe other functions that are responsible for freeing that space. That sort of a situation actually comes up when working with data structures like linked lists or binary search trees. Now, one other way that a memory leak can occur is if our program loses the pointer to the block of memory. If that's the case, our program can no longer free that block of memory. Let's go over an example of that. We'll delete this here. And we'll make a function that actually allocates a block of memory and returns a pointer to that block of memory. So we'll say here, int star allocate. It's going to allocate space on the heap using malloc. We'll say malloc size of int times 100. And then the function is going to return the pointer. It's going to return the memory address for that block of memory. Then in our main function, we could actually store that return value. We could say int star block is equal to allocate. Then in our main function, once we're done working with that memory, we could say free block. And this will work. This is okay. So just because we allocated the memory in the allocate function doesn't mean we need to free it there. We can free it in the main function, and that's okay. And just because we stored the return value of malloc, the memory address for that block of memory, into pointer, it doesn't mean we need to use free with pointer. We can use free with block, and it's the same thing, because block is also a pointer that stores a memory address, and block stores the same memory address that was stored into pointer. That was a return value of allocate. We could actually print out the memory address just to make that clearer. Here we'll say printf %p \n, and we're going to output pointer. Then in the main function, we'll say printf %p \n, and we'll output block. If we save this, recompile our program, and run it, both of those memory addresses we output are the exact same. So we can use free here, and when we say free block, we're freeing that same block of memory that allocate allocated. What we returned with allocate was a pointer to that block of memory. Now the problem is, what if we lose that pointer? What if our program no longer has it? So for example, let's say we didn't actually store the memory address returned by allocate. So we call allocate to actually allocate the block of memory, but we never store the pointer. At that point, the allocate function has returned. Because the allocate function has returned, the pointer variable no longer exists. It's no longer on the stack. And because we no longer store the return value of allocate, we just don't have that memory address anywhere anymore, and our program can't get it back either. So we have this allocated block of memory, but our program can't use it, and it can't free it. So this becomes another way that we can get a memory leak, and in my experience, it's the more common way that they can occur. Memory leaks and dynamic memory allocation are some of the more challenging aspects of C programming, and newer languages like Java and Python actually handle dynamic memory allocation automatically for us using a process called garbage collection, in large part to alleviate programmers of this difficulty. Hopefully this video has helped you to understand memory leaks in C. Check out portfoliocourses.com, where we'll help you build a portfolio that will impress employers, including courses to help you develop C programming projects.